All right, so I guess before we begin, let's see, what did I have in mind for starting? I guess we'll just like start in the middle of the conversation of like Isadora telling some story, and then
Well, when in the timeline is this?
uh, I think it can pretty much be any time, like between the last mission and this next time downtime, probably, or after the downtime, a little bit before the next mission. Generally just while the Hex Girls have a period of rest.
Yeah, I figure like timeline wise, I just wanted to establish like they've been basically chatting in the matchmaker just in general off and on since they split at at the shy mission. She's been like trying to keep in touch. Um, so yeah, and like even after Halloween, after Samhain, she even reached out to hang out. So she's always trying to. She's always trying to hang out with Isadora. So this
Hmm.
is again just another one of their hangouts where they're catching up, touching base, getting to know each other better. Anytime within this period of time that Fefner has just identified, so basically anytime either during those 6 days on the Flavor Town before these two recent missions, or shortly after this last mission that we just did before the next one. Uh, yeah.
They probably haven't been able to like even do a fake date yet. Like it has just been conversations, not like, all right, well, let's just set up with a mug of coffee or tea or whatever and just have a nice night,
Yeah,
right?
it's probably mostly just been like horny hookups, and now they're finally actually starting to have real conversations. Like, okay, okay, it's been great and fun to just have wild sex, but maybe we should talk and have a real relationship.
I don't even know if they've really had sex after that, first one.
That's
Just
true.
neither of them have seen each other like physically, so and
I
like
mean,
neither of them particularly has the time. I
you can fuck in the matchmaker just because
can't
Quinn doesn't.
have they have definitely tried that, but for the most part, neither of them really has the time.
Yes, it's true. They gave
They
it a
had to try it just to see if they could, and
yeah,
they could.
and they could, and they were like, okay, that rules, but also flesh is better. So yes, they definitely tried it at least once, found out that you could, and then we're like, okay, that's great, but also I want to actually date you. So that's where we're at. So where she starts off is she'll start off by talking, like letting you know a bit about herself. Right, so she'll tell Isadora about herself. Like she'll open up with, well, here's so in Media Res they've been talking for a bit. We'll begin the session. We'll begin this pilot log effectively now, and beyond anything you add into it after before this. So Hyrule and Isadora have been just having a nice date, drinking wine, sitting in the matchmaker, and Hyrule's been talking to her, and being blunt about her interests, in that she is interested in having an actual relationship with Isadora, and she hopes that's not a too big of an ask. And she wants to know who Isadora is as a person, and about her history and her past. In exchange, since she wants a real relationship with Isadora, she's willing to tell her about like a whole lot about herself as well.
Hmm.
And she tells Isadora that she has been reading up on Cradle, but it feels a bit creepy to just be doing this research because it's ostensibly just to get to know you better, when she could just get the facts right from the source. Additionally, Quinn has put some disclaimers in a lot of these about how these are biased sources, which means any information she could be getting isn't maybe the insight or take on it you would personally have. And that doesn't help her get to know you at all.
Hmm.
So but she did laugh and say that Quinn has the same opinion about Columbus that you do. And so does she, by the way. Fuck him.
Comes fucking sucks. Throw him to the manatees.
Yeah. Yeah, and additionally, like, she's been researching, like, a bunch on religions and stuff, because she says, I guess a secret blessing in disguise is the people who colonized Dinhark, the original people who colonized Dinhark, however thousands of years ago it was. There's actually, interestingly enough, it's difficult to tell when Dinhark was originally colonized by the people who came here on Athena. because there's a lot of like arguments over who was here first. Funny how that is.
Yeah, that
Regardless,
makes sense. Honestly, in general, most of Overture seems like it's kind of a mess of who got what and where and why and how.
from what I can tell, three different groups actually landed on Denmark in different places at around the same time, and then all argued about finding it first. Great.
From my observations, it probably wasn't Athena. Their space travel program wasn't particularly advanced until it had to be once they realized there were two other major powers in the galaxy.
Yeah. In regards to that ancient history, and yep, that's what my research supports as well. And she takes another sip of her wine. Nobody religious. All basically either John Galt types who wanted to build their own fucked up libertarian paradise on Denmark, or atheists and anarchists trying to start just an anarchist state here on Denmark. As
Hmm.
you can tell from our current politics, the Ashai people branched off from those atheist anarchists who landed here, and that means we didn't actually have any knowledge of old Earth and cradle religions.
Hmm. I see. Well, hmm. From what I gather, Athena seems to be a mix of a lot of different things, and I guess, well, religion is a very different thing in Cradle than it is in Overture. In Overture, it seems like a lot of the older religions of Old Earth actually survived to some extent, just now with the knowledge that sentient life can exist outside of Earth and has to, so it certainly made the argument about gods a lot more interesting. Most religions by now, though, have sort of gotten to that point where they will at least accept that we have a place in the solar system, and, well, I can't admit that I really researched that much into theology myself, especially nowadays. I've got a lot of other projects, but that's just the general feel I get from it.
Yeah. A lot of the major ancestors, I guess we would call them ancestors. Well, I would call we would call them ancestors. Had very negative opinions on religion since they came here as, you know, atheists. A lot of them had Christian backgrounds. Not all of them, but so a lot of negative feelings towards Christianity in particular, which made me, when somebody hates something, being a victim of hate myself, it made me wonder why it was hated. So I did a bunch of research into it, and I think in general it's just Christians that made Christianity so hateable.
That's more or less it. In fact, it's pretty much that dogma why Christianity sort of waned in Overture, from what I understand. It still exists, but, well, there weren't a lot of Christians traveling from Earth as it collapsed, because they just refused.
Yeah, she nods, like she tucks up against you. So you're not a religious gal. Neither am I. It's good. We don't have to worry about that.
I suppose I'm more spiritual than anything else.
Yeah. Same. Though I don't know, we don't exactly believe in spirits either, so to speak. It's complicated. Just, I guess it's kind of a form of ancestor worship, but not what we got going on. It's like I guess it's like Lebanon Satanism, except it's not a weird sex cult.
I just think nature is neat, and seeing the way it flourishes throughout the galaxy is interesting. Society is sort of parallel to that in the way it develops.
She nods.
It is a part of nature, and yet sapient thought is quite a bit different from nature itself.
How's Coriander doing in and related to speaking of natural things, I have my own take on what coriander is. See, I know he's a machine made out of machine things, but I see him as something natural to this, like a natural thing that you've made.
I suppose that does make sense. There are NHPs more complex, but he is learning the best he can, and, well, machine learning is a nature in of itself, just a different kind.
She
And,
chuckles.
well, it's. I can say it's not intelligent design because I
Hey, hey, hey.
to create him initially. It just sort of happens.
Happy little accidents, she says, nudging you with your elbow. That's my girlfriend you're talking about. Anyway, she slaps at her prosthetic leg, which she keeps on her avatar, even though she could make herself look like however she wants. I was talking more from, I guess, that spiritual side of things, where sure the materials made to you used to make him were dug out of the ground, and the code, was stuff you read in a book that was made from trees. But again, that matter of the metals in the earth and the paper of the trees or whatever was converted into him, and thus he's just another natural form. But your more metaphysical look on it is also something I can agree with.
Hmm. Yours makes sense as well. It is because he is not terribly advanced yet, but he can't really work well without the original blueprints. Quinn's been trying to give him decals and props, but he refuses them. And
She did teach him how to play Dark Souls, and he has invaded me a couple times, so he's got that going for him.
he can play video games, but that is the metaphysical side. He exists as a sort of thought as much as code is, and I mean, code is nothing but a weird string of thoughts that human beings had to design.
She grins and says, "Yes, he definitely does exist as a thought, though not as you exist as a thought."
Excuse me?
Nothing. You are
As
breathing.
if data.
I've read on the internet that if she breathes, and I continue breathing, and thus I've concluded that we are here breathing together, and thus both thoughts in this essay. She's become so awful. She's been so poisoned by the internet already.
Oh no. Irony poisoning survived. You can see it online. No!
But she's being so sincere and genuine. uh, okay,
But
so
in regards to his body, it's. Hmm, I suppose it's sort of a reverse from most living beings in that he is quite comfortable with what he was given.
yeah,
Very, very comfortable.
yeah. I'm sure he wouldn't like frown if you gave him like a big cannon or something. But yeah, I get it. I was like thinking like turning like putting a Gatling gun on my leg. That'd be so badass. It'd be completely impractical because the recoil would just knock me on my butt the second I took one shot. But come on, it would look really cool.
It would certainly be something to show off at parties.
I hope we can go to a party together sometime.
Well, mercenary work's been keeping me busy, and your tireless crusade has been, seems like it's been sapping your hours quite a bit.
Well, it's mine and yet it's not mine. I'm part of. I support my comrades, my Covanans.
It's a people's revolution.
It is what I want. It's what I told you. I am out to get back what was taken from us, but I know I want peace. I wish there were any other way than this. I think
Eh,
that's basically where I'm at now with these fascists. I loathe them, but like not just for what they do, but for what they force us to become to get rid of them because they won't stop before they sink us to that level.
indeed. Were there any easier path to peace, it would have been found already. But
Eh, that's what she says. The girl, Kavanen. That's what she says.
Well, I've more or less made my peace with it at this point.
You know, making peace is what I'm all about out here. I'm gonna find a way to bring a world where we can sometimes be physically together, at least a little. So, about things you're interested in, I and commonalities that we share. I was Quinn jokingly told me I should make a pie, like a Venn diagram pie chart, and I didn't because that sounds creepy. Here's where we overlap, Isadora, and like I hope she does not do that to Kovenin because that will creep her out.
Well, hmm. I feel like that's one of the things that Quinn would be far too nervous to do on her own.
I'm not going to coach her to do it. I have
Because
actively
I say that
discouraged
as I
her from
do,
doing so.
etc., etc.
Yeah. I can't, I don't know. She's shown me all the other graphs and pie charts that she's made, and I'm just horrified. Please don't do this to a person. About your personal interest. Do you have a shipping chart? Uh, about us. She laughs and hugs you. So, seems you're interested in tea. I've actually started getting into tea too. It seems you might actually be interested in video games. So
Oh
I'm
yeah,
curious about both of those things, but you don't seem to be interested in the same video games Quinn is into.
she is very into them. I mostly just play when I feel like it. It is amongst my thousand hobbies, but it is nice to detach from research and then get into, well, different research. Reading is just a different type of research. Just instead of looking up facts or trying to figure out how a code is supposed to work or how a machine's supposed to work, you just figure out morals and characterizations and all that. And I suppose it's just as much effort, but it's a different kind of fun.
Yeah, I don't like. I could look at your play history, but I don't. That is creepy. Look, I'm not interested in stalking you. I'm interested in learning what you are. But I have looked at what Quinn has made available to us to play. Started like playing these things called visual novels. They're kind of fun. I'm having fun. But why are they so het?
Oh, you must be playing some of the older ones. I can hook you up on newer things. Uh, yeah, I can figure out how to. They're not part of the archive, but I can get them over to you, no problem. Visual novels are actually fairly common in Cradle as well. It's a pretty good, easy starting point for somebody who wants to tell a story and maybe can't do super intricate things that other video games do, but can certainly program a path through a script. Just a nice script.
Yeah. I've decided, and I hope Quinn does not bully me about this, that I'm going to be a casual gamer.
I mean, I have not said that out loud around her, but she hasn't bothered me about it. I feel she probably would have noticed by now, and would have made fun of me if she were so inclined.
I look forward to your recommendations then. I will play them. I'm really, really tired of being heterosexual in video games. I'm not even heterosexual in real life.
Yeah, so it's highly unrealistic that people expected you to be het for video games. I don't
I
understand that.
think being heterosexual period is unrealistic, but that's where I'm at now. I don't think straight people exist.
Well, I
You
suppose
can't prove to me.
like
Name one
Coriander,
straight person. Name one.
sometimes people are just lucky enough to just get everything they need right from the get-go. Bastards they are.
She's getting rowdy. She calms down, but she's no. But I am serious. Can you name even one?
Sorry, name even one what?
Name even a single straight person. Just one. I'm trying. She's rowdy.
I mean,
Maybe Quinn.
I feel like Bryn. Well, he did. He did. I was gonna marry someone, so I guess he wouldn't be Ace. So I guess Bryn, maybe?
Maybe.
He is the token straight of the Hex Girls.
Amazing.
Though, from my understanding, that's not really a thing even Overture has. Well, I mean, I can't say much about Deliverance and what they may or may not espouse. I've been on Athena. There are so many same sex couples. They do not give a shit.
Yeah. I
The hero of IPSN is extremely gender fluid.
Yeah. They are in the contact list. I could totally bring them up. I've thought about it, but I'm happy with what I got. I'm not gonna be making any future more booty calls. Just scroll through the contact list at 3 o'clock in the morning, all you up. No, I'm good. So, something Quinn told me is
Mhm.
that you can what she does, and maybe you do as well, is she learns you mentioned it actually, moral lessons from these video games and such. As I have to I'm gonna stop being rowdy, calming down, being serious here. Talk to me about games and things you're interested in and how they've influenced you as a person.
Hmm. See, now the problem is the only game on my mind is the one I've been playing recently about two knights who fight each other on the battlefield, but the both of them fall in love, and that's really interesting, but like that's a new thing. I don't know how that's going to shape me yet. I know it's cute, but
It
oh,
sounds adorable if it's not tragic. I mean, they don't fight to the death,
oh.
right? It's not to the death. That would be awful.
It was supposed to be, but then like they sort of get like tossed away from the action, and then since they're away from their respective armies, they sort of have to go travel together for a bit. And uh, anyway,
That
like I
sounds
said,
super
I'm
romantic. She's like,
I'm in the middle of that, but it's super cute. I'll have to forward that to you. Hmm. Well, I suppose I did say I was casual, but back in the day, I did actually learn to speedrun a particular game. A
speedrunning.
series of games, actually.
Quinn mentioned that to me in terms of me explaining what rushing, the Ashai term, was to her. Go on.
So, in high school, well, I'm not exactly a social butterfly, but I improved in college.
Wait. What's high school?
Okay, so, it's just a part of the formal education system that's the last one before college.
And what's college?
College is basically just fuck around and find out, but with education. You just sort of figure out what the heck you want to do. There are people there that help you, and you just kind of figure it out.
Oh,
You do a
really?
whole lot of stuff that isn't like core skills that you'd learn
Ah,
elementary through high school.
right. It's mentorship, but you have an institution for it. We just do it. Sometimes we have buildings for it where we congregate and do it, but we just teach each other. Okay, cool. All right. That's just like an institution that does it, like a specific building. You don't just, like, basically, our entire land is a university campus, I guess, in the amongst the Ashai. We just mentor and guide each other constantly, teaching each other lessons important and academic at all times. There's no specific space unless you want to talk about Aras, but that's like more religiously special in terms of how we have a religion. But yeah, okay, I get it. So college is just college is just the gentle lands for us. We're all frat boys. Oh no.
I suppose some of the inner worlds of Union are sort of like that. Cradle's a little more strict on the planet itself, so typically you're going to be doing a job. But like in general, it's not like a strict mentorship or even a really casual one. But there's a lot of further learning and sort of casual talk about philosophy, arts, and all those sorts of things outside in Union space. It's just college is where you go there.
Yeah. Um,
But anyway,
I didn't want to
I
distract you. I'm sorry. Go on.
I got better at dating and people skills in college, which, as you might imagine, means I was fairly awkward in high school. But
She like makes a face like I'm sad I missed it. I like messing with awkward people.
there was this girl I liked, and at one point I overheard her talking about this game she really liked called Mega Man Zero, and it's a sort of sub-series within a large series of like super old Earth sorts of games. I don't know how back you've gone system-wise in
um,
the archives.
you made me play Oregon Trail. That is how far back I went.
All right, so that was, well, I think that was on a lot of. I don't remember exactly what that was on, but there's this thing called the Nintendo Entertainment System,
Okay, I've heard about
that's
it.
where the Mega Man series started. But down the line, they were on like a different console. They lasted long enough. But anyway, uh, I heard her talk about it, so I decided I'd boot up the emulator and play it. And I never spoke to her about the game, even though I learned about that one and the other three games in the series. But I did find it an enjoyable time. And yeah, I did end up being. I ended up playing it enough that I could speed run the games fairly well. I don't know if I was trying to like get a record to maybe see if she'd notice me like that. That might have been a subconscious thing. Now that I'm thinking on it, I don't know.
Hyrul's expression is getting like more and more fond and more amused as Isadora keeps going, just so we're clear.
Uh,
And she's visibly biting her tongue, like she definitely wants to be saying something, but she's letting you go.
but anyway, the games star this character named Zero. He was in previous Mega Man games, but he is awoken to a post apocalyptic future which is currently suffering an energy crisis, and throughout it, he basically has to fight against this major power, Neo Arcadia, which is where all the humans are, and it's a utopia, but only for itself. Neo Arcadia often scapegoats others and kills them, just sort of out of sight of the general populace. And over the course of the series, like, this sounds, fairly dark and brooding, but things actually do improve as he fights against Neo Arcadia. The scientist he's helping Ciel, she actually develops a new energy, and in general, okay, so God, I have to explain so much, but like, there's this like species of programs called cyber elves that are like living beings, but they're computer programs, kind of.
Right, like,
Oh
yep.
God, I should also mention Zero is something called a Reploid, which is sort of like an android, but different. I cannot explain all of this. I'll
She's
give you
like,
the lowdown
she's
later.
chuckling, like, yeah, write it up for me. It sounds like there's a lot of overlap a bit between what's going on in our universe right now, but I'm mostly amused by the fact that you didn't even talk to the girl. That's relatable. You know, we wouldn't even be dating if I hadn't even taken my shot, would we?
Well, I mean, probably not, no, but I figured we'd sort of be one and done in general, but your group in general warmed up to us as we warmed up to you, so, I probably wasn't going to be the initiator, and it's been some time since college. I was decent at coffee dates back in college. I'm just out of practice. I've been traveling a lot.
I don't want to put you in any sort of position you don't want to be in. What I want doesn't have to be what you want. If you just want this to be more of a casual thing, we can have that. We can be that. But I do want more than that. But that's not it doesn't have anything to do with Mega Man, I don't think. Unless Zero's got some weird stuff going on. I mean, I bet if I looked, there's like all sorts of fan art of him.
Oh, probably. And in previous series, you could probably ship him and X. He's more of a loner in the Zero series. Even his human friend, who develops the energy and prevents cyber elves from dying when they're being used, they're not really dating. They're just they're partners.
Right.
It's not romantic. It's just Seal is the one who can better mankind, and Zero is the blade who will protect her and everything she holds dear.
That's how I feel about my relationship with the girl Kabanin. That's not the kind of relationship I desire to have with you. But I'm not here to rush you. I want to meet you where you're at. You don't have to come to where I am. And in terms of Mega Man, I hear you can like. I'm gonna look up some stuff right now. She like pulls up her PDA, like starts furiously typing. Oh, there was a cartoon. Is it good?
Oh, it's Ruby Spears, so no.
I want to watch
But
it.
it's
Is
worth
Dunk on it
watching.
anyway? Yes.
Well, before you asked me, if there were games that shaped me, and I could go on about that, but, well, you want slightly embarrassing things, I'm sure, but
You already told me you don't talk to girls. That's pretty embarrassing. But yes, do go on.
uh, I memorized one of the last quotes because I
Ah!
thought it was
Oh my
super cool.
gosh. This is a genuine reaction for this is the cutest shit ever. Go on.
In the end, one of the last lines in the fourth game, Zero says, I never cared about justice, and I don't recall ever calling myself a hero. I've always only fought for the people I believe in. And I just thought that was really cool.
That's okay. Super relatable.
And that is where I'm at myself, yes.
Whoa. Hmm.
I also hate that we've been made to have to fight all of the evils that have presented themselves in Overture, but I will resign myself. If I have to be the one to fight against them, I will be.
That's where I'm at too. And you're fighting over there, and I'm fighting over here. But I'm gonna fight in your direction so we can meet back up again.
Ah, yes, a pincer attack. They'll never see it coming.
That's my hope. We're not quite done gathering up all the martyrs. There's a couple more we gotta get. We got most of them. Thinking, I don't know, Zala S. You knew her as S. Takes a maybe a month. If we're not found out before then, I could we could be hanging out in the flesh again soon.
A month is a hard line to push, but I'll do everything I can to make that happen as well.
Is that what you want?
Honestly, most of my research is aimless. I travel how I feel like traveling. That, however, is my goal. I, no matter what I research, no matter what I craft, that is the only end goal I have for myself right now.
I mean, for yourself romantically. would it be okay if maybe you had company on your loner, cool, edgy loner journeys? Or would that cramp your style?
You're probably the only woman I've ever noticed who's taken interest to discoveries as I have.
I thought the flower thing was cool. I think it would be cool if we like went around and did more stealing things, pulling heists, making pranks. You're an Issa as well, after all.
I never thought of myself as one for pranks, but I suppose I've been doing quite a bit of disrupting, so it would certainly be a future to look forward to.
Cool. Good. It's I'd like it. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not looking for forever, as who knows what the next day will bring, right? But I'd like to try to have a companion. And the truth is, my options amongst my own people aren't the best. We're all so fucked up by everything that's happened to us. And in a way, I'm jealous that Kovanen has Quinn to talk to, because look, Quinn doesn't have any of that. So Kovanen can just talk to her, and she won't get any of that bite back. You don't understand, I guess, the minefield that it is to talk casually about the way you've lost people and accidentally trip, somebody's tripwire, and the next thing you know, they're melting down, and now you can't have that normal conversation with them. Now you can't even develop the relationship any further from that conversation point until you put them back together again, and then you keep going forward, and it's just hard being that broken. So it's nice to have somebody where I can just talk about this shit and it doesn't really affect you. And maybe you feel like a bad person that it doesn't really affect you, but it's probably one of the most comforting things that I have in my life right now.
Well, I do my best to emphasize, even if I haven't lost quite as you have.
That's not a competition. Don't make it one.
I have no intention to, don't worry.
Good. Don't be competitive about that. I still am winning, by the way, the race. I won it.
Are you winning the race right now?
I'm not sure. Maybe. I'm gonna say I am. Prove me wrong.
I can't prove it.
uh, Quinn told me about monster trucks and NASCAR. I've been looking into that. I don't know if you're into that. This shit sounds awesome.
I only just started using a large mech. I suppose I'm not huge into big vehicles crushing little things, especially given most of the other Hex girls.
There's something to be said for small and able to get into small places.
Oh, definitely.
That's
The
why.
Idolwise 2 has been fun to test, but I do like zipping around a battlefield.
Same. I mean, I don't like this big mechs thing at all. I like. I'm very much. That's how we fought, right? Tiny little mechs doing obnoxious little pingy guerrilla attacks until they got frustrated and descended into infighting. It worked really well for us. There's a method
Indeed.
to our madness. So about things that inspired me that aren't my too much trauma. We had games on Denmark that are unique to us. You have probably would have never played them. The thing that's sad is we never archived them. All these things that Earth actually took the time to do, they're just in our heads, and we've lost so many of us that a lot of that stuff is just gone now. So I don't even know if there's anybody around who remembers those games or could code them again, and they could just be gone forever. But there's this game we used to play, and it's actually a lot like another game, but not really, that Quinn sent me called Frogger. right? You move this frog across the logs to get to the other side of the logs. But if you fall in the water, you die because, like, in some of the logs are crocodile. You've played it, right?
Yes.
It's fun, and you can make the frog invisible, and then it's ultra hard mode, and that's the mode I've been playing because that's basically kind of the game. Basically, it's like that except you and another frog that is also invisible are on the other side, and the goal is to find each other. And once you do, you win the map. But you're both trying to find each other in the middle instead of get to the other side.
Hmm.
And you're both invisible and can't see where the other is, and you're not supposed to talk to the other person and tell them where they are or where you are. You just gotta move your frog, but you weren't a frog, but I'm just using the metaphor of a frog, around on the logs and also crocodiles to try and find the other frog. And that's how you win.
Hmm. Yeah, I've heard of Invisible Tetris, but yeah, that sounds quite difficult.
Yeah, but payoff's really cool because once you find them, you get a little heart over the frogs. It's cute. And I drew this big metaphor out of life from it because I was a young, impressionable kid. This was before the war, uh, the first one. There's been a couple. We only talk about the last one, right? Because it's the most devastating. But our land, the gentle lands, are ripe with resources and fresh water and beautiful stuff. And I hope to show them to you one day, though I have no idea what they look like now. But that meant that they were really highly prized and desired by surrounding civilizations who would constantly come to war with us, and we were largely peaceful people who really didn't want to fight or start shit or any of that nonsense before other people started fucking with us. So we had to start fighting back meaner and dirtier because they would sink to no blanks of whatever. But again, in before my first war, because it had been happening from before I was born, and it had been happening way after I was born, I got to play this game and drew this big life philosophy from this silly, tiny pixel game where you're an invisible frog trying to find another invisible frog and fall in love, to be this big metaphysical concept about the world and about how we're all trying to find that one person that we don't even know who they are. And we just keep looking and looking and looking. And my thought is that that frog might not be the frog. The other frog and you might not be that frog. But you try to make it work with that frog. And ultimately, there is no chosen frog for you in the universe. You just make it work with the one you get it good enough with. And I feel like when there's jackasses out there killing all the other frogs, limits my ability to find the frog that I can make it work with. I feel like I got really lucky so far with you. I guess that's an actual in character
Uh,
silence from Isadora. She
yeah,
just sat there
probably
in
slightly
silence.
shorter than
Yeah.
this, but
Maybe I went a little hard there. I'm sorry. I cannot take it all back. I actually meant every word of it.
it is quite impressive that I've flown through galaxy upon galaxy, and I wound up meeting you, of all people.
I feel the same. I don't, again, I'm really, really trying to not go too big here. So sorry. But actually, no, not sorry. It's that kind of sorry, but not sorry, right? I don't know. That's where I'm at. You don't have to meet me here. We're not racing. I'm not winning. I'm trying to slow down for you. I don't want to rush you. I'm just glad we met. And whether or not we stay meeting, I'm just happy with the time we have together in the now and hopefully in the futures.
Honestly, you keep saying you're slowing down, but honestly, really the only thing preventing us from really going overboard with the whole dating thing is the fact that we have a lot of business taking down fascists. If it weren't for that, we could have dated so much more,
It's true.
Can you just imagine the heists we could have pulled if we actually could focus on our own work instead?
I won't lie, it's one of my big drives for getting this done as quickly as possible. I want to like steal. There's like diamonds apparently, like big fancy royal diamonds that were brought here from old Earth. Some sort of like queen's diamond, like a big blue diamond. I want to steal it. I don't even know where it is. I'm gonna find out where it is. We're gonna steal it. I don't even. I'm gonna like. I don't know. Do something dumb with it. I'm not even gonna charge a laser with it.
Hmm. What's a step down from making it into your own personal jewelry? Because that gives it too much credit, right?
Right? Yeah. We gotta figure out. Okay. Chip it
Would
up.
paperweight be too
Oh
much?
man, paperweight. I was thinking more communist, because otherwise Quinn will look at us with like all judgmentally if we'd be big, like fancy bitches about it. Look, obviously we can convince her to let us be big fancy bitches about some of this stuff, right? Also, she's 16. We could totally beat her up. You and me, we could take her.
I mean, physically, probably. Morally, I feel we'd feel very bad about it.
I guess, yeah. I already feel a little bad about it. Just a hypothetical. Okay, so I was thinking communistly, we could like get a jewel cutter, chip it up, and spread it around. But like at that point, it has no value, which is actually my favorite part about this kind of shit. Is now it's meaningless, and they can give it their own meaning. I think that's cool as hell. Which, by the way, I think hell's actually really cool.
There's a lot of different interpretations of hell. Actually, I don't think I've really looked up interpretations of hell now that we're in space. What's space hell like?
It's overture.
Oh, is that it? I've died and gone to space hell?
Yeah. We'll get out of it. Hell is for dead people. We are very much alive. We're going to get out of hell. I'm gonna fight out of it. I'm pulling an Orpheus.
Well, I mean, that's going to be a problem right here.
A
And
Hercules.
I think Isadora just mute. Like, is there an equivalent to mute where she just vanishes without logging
Yeah,
out?
where she could just like, yeah, you could like turn yourself into this. Yeah. I was like, fuck. Look, I only read the first little bit. Ah, damn it. I gotta read up the rest.
Isadora pops back in, and that's why you read everything before you reference it.
No, I thought it was cute and romantic. You're awful.
And I do apologize for spoiling that
You're
story
not
for
even sorry.
you. Well, I suppose you are correct about that, but
I'll make you sorry. Oh no, it's getting horny now.
I guess we'd probably zoom out from there then.
Yeah. I guess that's
All
the
right.
end of this pilot log.
Well, before we end, though, I think we just, skip to the end when Isadora, takes off all the gear after saying her goodbyes, and she just sort of leans back, sort of smiling. Uh, it sort of retracts a bit, and she just takes a deep breath and finishes the quote from earlier.
Yeah.
I won't hesitate. If an enemy appears in front of me, I'll destroy it. Hyral, believe in me.
Cute. Cute. Hyrule wants you to teach her how to code so she can code the frog game again. The Invincible Frog game. And put it back and put it on the archives. I think that's how she ends, right? Before Isadora does her very, very cute thing, is after they're done having all sorts of wild sex, Hyrule says, teach me how to code so I can make the frog game again.
I like to imagine on Hyrul's end, she just pulls out a piece of paper and writes down frog game on it.
Yeah. Learn to code
Begin
frog
drafting
game.
phases.
Yeah. All right.